Spawn in, die, tab out. A cycle that's all too familiar. Nothing seems to work. It's easy to blame mechanics, but what if the issue has nothing to do with gaming?
In game, everything just felt dull. I never thought ahead. I just moved, wander the map, see someone, spray, die, and tab out until the next round. I didn't use drones or cams, not because they didn't matter. I just couldn't be bothered. People held perfect angles on me, and I knew swinging meant dying, but I'd swing anyways. By the time I decided to take any shots, the fight was already over, and when I did take shots, it just spilled into a spray with no control, and the outcome was still the same. I was the teammate that nobody wanted. I thought maybe my best years were already behind me. Maybe I was just getting older. My reaction time, aim, awareness, and decision making were all terrible. These symptoms point to being a bad player, but these same symptoms point to something else. Sleep apnea. Apnea is when you stop breathing in your sleep, not just once or twice, sometimes anywhere from 1 to 300 times a night, and most of the time, you never even notice. I was tired all the time, no matter how much I slept. Honestly, I thought I was just a lazy person. When your brain lacks oxygen, every skill Siege depends on becomes impossible to access. This video is an experiment, one that took over 3 months to complete. Before fixing my sleep, I ran a test in AIM Labs to establish a baseline. 3 months later, I ran the same test, with sleep being the only variable. To improve my sleep, I used a small device called a CPAP, which allows me to breathe normally while I sleep. So the question becomes, once those symptoms are gone, how does in-game performance change, and by how much? The final results were fascinating. Your feedback fuels these experiments. Share your thoughts so far. It feels like I'm actually playing the game for the first time. I used to think Siege was fast and chaotic. Now I realize it's slow and deliberate. Moments stopped blurring together. They became separate. I could deal with one thing at a time now. Even spraying feels different, as if each weapon's RPM was cut in half. I'm not hoping when I hold the trigger anymore. I can feel each shot and adjust mid-spray. Droning has a new purpose. It's no longer just for marking enemies. Now it's used for clearing space, carving out my path, and giving me eyes and ears on my flanks. Engagements aren't random anymore. They're set up and closed out, not with ego, but with the objective in mind. I no longer zone out after just a few rounds. I now stay fully present, even deep into a session. When I start to feel off, I acknowledge it early and step away before it compounds into misery. Everything up to this point is purely perception. Perception can be deceptive, but data brings clarity. So I measured it. To do that, I used a task called Grid Shot inside of AIM Labs. This task measures accuracy, reaction time, and decision making based on target selection. Originally, the plan was 3 runs, then take the highest score as baseline, but the before results were low enough to invite skepticism. So 7 attempts later, these were my results. 3 months later, I ran the same tests. I expected a run or two would be a warm-up, but on the first attempt, these were the results. I expected the results to improve, but not to this extent. The results were clear. The gap between the best version of my old self and my new baseline is unmistakable. No matter how much you build or how many hours you put in, if the foundation is flawed, there's no stability. Nothing new needs to be learned to access what's already there.